Bhangra is itself so powerful and energizing anyway. Any movement is, obviously. Music on its own is something which uplifts your mood depending on what music you're listening to, especially when we were doing daily lives when the lockdown started. For me, that was like complete like mental lifesaver.
Welcome back to another episode of Music for Mental Health. Today we're joined by the brothers from Bounce Bhangra. Welcome. So we've got Vikram and Manu. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Me and Manu are brothers, obviously grown up in London and listening to Bhangra music, hip hop, R&B, a little bit of Bollywood. Grew up dancing a lot. Every year we would do community dance shows, Diwali shows. Our jobs have nothing to do with this. Like I'm actually a renewable energy financier, so absolutely nothing apart from maybe the word energy. We basically realized that after uni, we stopped doing all this kind of like community work and didn't have the opportunity to do like just dance for fun and things like that. So a few years ago, we started up Bounce Bhangra, which was really, it started more for us to just have fun and like meet people again and dance for fun.
I'm a user experience designer, so I basically design websites and apps and things like that. In my own time, I also do like music production and things like that, which kind of ties into some Bounce Bhangra stuff because I try to use some of the music that I make in our classes as well, and they promote each other.
So you guys grew up with Bhangra music and the energy, like Vic described. What made you come up with the idea for Bounce Bhangra? Like, where did that start?
Yeah, I was really bored one day, and then Manu suggested, like, okay, well, why don't we just run our own class? Yeah, and he just made a Facebook event.
And
he's like, and we invited people to it, and they signed up, and we were like, oh crap, we have to run this thing now.
Yeah, that's the bit I do remember that.
The secret is I can't dance at all. Like, I respond to music differently. My body moves in a different way to the way my brain is thinking. my wife is an amazing dancer, and awesome. And her mates will be able to tell you that when the Bhangra tracks come on, it's probably A for effort with me, but technically, yeah. So we'll wait for the next wedding, see if I can get some practice in.
Well, that's so. Like, I mean, like, it's actually one of the reasons that we did Bounce Bhangra as well, because it's more, I would say, more inclusive, just simply from the fact that we're not focusing on perfecting technique. Yeah. So for that reason, it became more of a fitness thing where, so our classes are literally, so we don't call them classes, we call them cardio parties. And it's literally just, we play the music, everyone comes along. Obviously, we are running a class, so you're following our moves. But it kind of doesn't matter what anyone's doing. So you would fit right in as long as you've got a smile on your face. And you're enjoying it. It's absolutely fine.
I try. So I think it's really incredible that you had the idea and you were able to create this movement. It's got a huge positive impact.
Quite a lot of people have messaged us saying how it's helped them with their mental state, because when it became an online thing, obviously we were able to access people all over the world, not just in London. Not everyone is necessarily in lockdown, but many people are, and they're stuck at home, or they can't, travel or whatever. So, and a lot of those people are on their own as well, not even with family members. Those kind of people are in a situation where they could struggle quite a lot if they didn't have something to do or connect to outside of like their day job or whatever, right? So a lot of people in that situation have been messaging us saying how much they appreciate the like online live sessions that we've been doing and stuff like that.
Bhangra is itself so powerful and energizing anyway. Like any movement is, obviously. Music on its own is something which uplifts your mood depending on what music you're listening to, especially when we were doing daily lives when the lockdown started. for me, that was like complete like mental lifesaver, because I was just releasing my energy all the time, and like it's high energy, jumping around and going nuts. So you're pretty exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah, well, I think it's amazing, and hopefully I can attend one of your cardio parties soon.
You don't need to turn the camera on, so don't worry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fine then. So yeah, so this is all about music for mental health, and it's all about the positive impact that music can have on the mind and the well-being as well.
So our mum is a psychotherapist. We've literally grown up around mental health concepts, and like the trying to break down the stigma, seeing like the effect, like the yo-yo of government funding for mental health work, literally like directly affecting my mum and the work she's doing. You know, like the impact of patient stories and experiences on my mum, and then how she would always be trying to help the community understand that mental health is as important, if not more important, than physical health. And it's not just something you can ignore. It's not just something that will go away, or like, you know, the person is acting up or it's drama. But all those kinds of things, like literally we've grown up with. And the other interesting thing, like again, linking it back to mental health, music and dance. So every year my mum would have like Diwali shows and, you know, seaside trips for her clients. We would go along to these, like the shows, we would be in the shows. Either we started off like helping out with the music and whatever, and then we would basically do dance performances. The interesting thing for us, and this stuck with me completely, was so many times it would be like we would be doing a dance performance and you see like the shift on the people's faces, and it like suddenly, like literally, you know, people who are suffering from psychosis, severe depression, like their whole face changes. And then once you start the DJing and whatever, at the end, like everyone's just like dancing, and half the people are not even doing anything. They're just sitting there watching with a smile on their face. And like we're doing so little, and it's having such a big impact. So I think that kind of stuck with us as well. And it's the same thing that we see with you know, that with Bounce Bhangra, of like the way we're able to help people. And again, in lockdown with the lives, this is what we started seeing happening as well. You know, someone's watching us on Facebook, they're not actually doing it, they're not dancing, they're not our intention was these are cardio sessions. They maybe not doing anything, they're just using it as entertainment and enjoying themselves because it's so uplifting. So I think that's like that we kind of realized that from that time.
Manu's actually a music producer, goes by the name of Empathy Reigns. Would you be able to tell us a bit more about that, your music, and how you got started in production?
So I've been doing it kind of on and off for quite a few years. I've always wanted to make music that has a positive message. When we were younger, I didn't necessarily understand Punjabi as well as I do now. So a lot of the songs, I enjoyed the energy of it, but I didn't really understand what they were saying or what they were talking about. But I was still able to like enjoy it and capture some energy from it. The way Bhangra has evolved, it is just storytelling, right? And if you don't know all of that stuff, or if you're not familiar with like how those stories have come about, then I think I preferred to attach my own meaning to some of these songs, because it gave me a kind of a sense of like internal positivity that I could carry with me, kind of thing, and use that to uplift me whenever I needed that feeling, right? So I wanted to create my own songs which did that for other people as well, and for myself as well. We do have an interest in hip hop and that kind of stuff as well, which we try to sometimes incorporate into Bounce Bhangra. And I think a lot of people who are familiar with hip hop know that the kind of topics they talk about are also not necessarily like, they're not always like really uplifting and inspiring stories, right? And I think I was thinking about all of that stuff and combining it with the fact that we really enjoy like dancing for fun and in clubs and parties and things like that. I just had this vision in my head that I wanted to create that experience of like something that you can party to, but it's also like emotionally uplifting and not just like superficial topics. So I've kind of always wanted to create music which has those two aspects and combines them together. I don't play the instruments myself, but I do like mostly electronic type stuff, as in electronic instruments and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like sampling and stuff like that. So, but when I work with any artists or singers or rappers, I try to leave it to them, but I try to guide them on like how to help shape it into something that's going to be positive or received in a positive way by most people.
One of the kind of core foundations of the tradition of Bhangra music is bolia, which means speaking. And so if you imagine the setting, right, like, so a fields in Punjab, you've got all the farmers out, you know, men and women, the whole community that there's, and then essentially, you know, one person singing with their and telling a story, like Manu says, storytelling, and some of the stories might be folk stories, you know, and then the way it kind of captures you is because the melody is so strong. It is so simple. It is just using the most basic tools available to us: our voice, one drum, one stringed instrument, and then you just keep layering them up, and then you can add on more complexity.
The Punjabi language has rhythm baked into it because it like that's where Bhangra gets, and it fits so easily with the lyrics.
The track that you sent me the link for, Consequences. So I'll play a little bit of that now. Okay. Probably only play about 60 seconds of it, and then we can have a chat about that one. Is that okay? Yeah. Play that. We'll start it from the beginning.
I might just start dancing.
Yeah, go on.
Wow. Yeah. Empathy. Skrilla. Wow. Let's go. Come on.
ਕਿਉਂ ਮੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਦਾਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਦਾਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਵਾਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਾਣੇ ਮਿੱਤਰੋ ਬੁਰਾ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਨਤੀਜਾ ਮਾਰੇ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਮਿੱਤਰੋ ਬੁਰਾ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਨਤੀਜਾ ਮਾਰੇ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਮਿੱਤਰੋ
Yeah, alright, hey listen, here's a lesson we should all know. I'm kicking game at you, you shouldn't be the same after. I know times get hard and life gets harder. We'll put you on the bench while you wishing you a starter. It makes you turn to the red eyes, killing yourself, you're headed for a dead guy. Bad choices because of what you're led by. Wake up in the morning ashamed, you couldn't keep your head high. And temptations fueled by libations, enough to conquer a king or tear down a nation. Before you act, think about it, have much patience. I learned it from a wise man, to hear what he's saying. He said,
That's cool. So,
Boom.
So how did that happen? How did that track come about?
My process with most of my songs is that I will get the Punjabi lyrics. So usually the lyrics have already been written, it's already been recorded, and then I will get it translated into English, and then I sent that English translation to the rapper so that whatever verses he wanted to write can be on the same topic, right? So I really liked this one because it was already a positive message before I was even involved in doing anything with it. I think it turned out really well with the rapper's lyrics on top of that as well. So the meaning behind the song is advising the listener to be aware of the consequences of their actions, and that like that's the main summary of it. But
That's a cool one. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. That's cool. Hopefully we can hear more about your music soon. What's next for you as a music producer?
So last year when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, that kind of inspired me to create something related to that topic as well. So I'm working with the same rapper from that song to put something together for that as well.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah, that'd be really cool. But is there a date yet for that coming out or anything?
I'm still working on the production for it, so yeah, not really. Like, so actually so Consequences, I think I started working on it in
when he was born, maybe
2011, maybe something like that. So
you're as bad as me, man.
I know.
He's got songs that he was working on like when he first got like a Mac, like I don't know, when we were like 13 or something, and then the songs are still sitting there. And like the hilarious thing is, like, sometimes Manu will come to me with a song and I'll be like, I've heard this before. He's like, yeah, I redid it. And I was like, you still haven't released it yet.
I think we need to be accountability partners.
Yeah.
You know, we help each other get music out. Well, I've got stuff I was working on since I was 15 or 16, right? Yeah. Like, I'm 33 now. And I'll be like, I need to put this out. So what's next for Bounce Bhangra?
The major shift that's happened is that this whole online thing has started and blown up, and it's clearly not going away. Even once pandemic is over, it's clearly like one of the ways to go. We've also been, like Manu was saying earlier, like we've also been almost surprised at how much it's helped people. We've seen that it could be beneficial for things like anger management, and like one NHS trust used Bounce Bhangra classes to raise money for children in need, and we've got a lot of feedback from lots of different places. So we've sort of kind of stumbled upon the power of it, which our main focus has been fun, but I think we didn't necessarily realize the other things beyond that. At the moment, we are doing a lot of free classes. And I think we are probably going to keep that going till the lockdowns are over. And we've got loads of things in the back of our mind, and some of them we've started. So like we did a virtual festival last year. Urban Desi was a 3-day virtual festival with like 15 different acts. We're going to be doing another one in a few months called Lioness Festival, which is focused on women's empowerment. Those are the kinds of things like we're trying to see, like, how can we make the impact bigger and get more people involved and things like that as well. So being on the BBC and Huffington Post and stuff has definitely helped with that. So and also like fed back to us like how much people are kind of absorbing the power of this.
I think we should definitely try and figure out a way of bringing Bhangra a bit more to like therapy, because I think there's a lot more. There's a huge potential in that, I think.
It's pretty good for anger management.
So that'd be interesting to see the research, the randomized controlled trials done on anger management.
We can run the session for you if you want to do the randomized controlled trial.
Yeah, let's talk about that later. Right, so how can we find out more about you guys? What are the links for social media?
So bouncebhangra.com. Everything's on there, and Instagram at Bounce Bhangra. Basically, Bounce Bhangra everywhere you look.
And we also have a playlist that we use for our classes, but it's all on Spotify. So for anyone who has Spotify, you can follow all the songs there, and we update it every week as well.
Oh, cool. And your music, where can we find your music?
So I have my own separate website, which is empathyreigns.com.
Cool.
And it's also on Spotify as well, and Apple Music.
That's great. Thanks, guys, for spending your time and having a chat to me about this. And we will see you guys next time for another episode of Music for Mental Health. Stay tuned.
Definitely. Thanks a lot for doing this as well.